Imagine checking your sauce billing dashboard at the end of the month, right? You're
Wow.
fully expecting your standard $12 charge.
Right.
But then you realize you were just billed for like 10,000 automated
Oh,
tasks.
wow. Yeah.
And the absolute kicker here, the system didn't actually accomplish a single thing for your business.
Not one thing.
It was literally just quietly checking an empty folder, over and over again, completely draining your budget while you slept. Welcome to today's deep dive.
It's a nightmare scenario, really.
It is. And listen, whether you are scaling this massive e-commerce empire, or maybe you're trying to optimize a growing side hustle, or honestly, you're just staring at your monthly tech stack budget, wondering where all your profit margin went, this discussion is going to save you serious money.
Absolutely.
So our mission today is to navigate the murky, totally confusing, and surprisingly expensive world of e-commerce automation. We are pulling from this incredibly detailed 31-minute source breakdown. It's titled Shopify Flow versus Zapier versus n8n, Kick Your Automation Layer.
A very dense, very good source.
Yeah, totally. And our goal today, we are going to completely shatter the illusion of the sauce sticker price.
I mean, it really is an illusion.
Yeah.
And it's one that catches, even really seasoned developers completely off guard.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
We have to start by just totally shifting our mental model of how these tools even interact with each other.
Right.
Because the primary misconception out there, and the source just hammers this home, is that people treat Shopify Flow, Zapier, Make, and n8n as if they are like 4 direct competitors locked in a cage match.
Which makes sense on the surface, right? You read blogs comparing them as if you have to pick one winner to, rule your entire business.
Exactly. But it's a flawed way of looking at it.
It kind of reminds me of the old Mac versus PC debate. Like you just pledge your allegiance to one ecosystem and completely ignore the rest of them.
That is exactly the trap.
Yeah.
Because they aren't fundamentally opposed to each other. They're actually stacked.
Stacked, like on top of each other.
Yeah, they sit on top of each other. So the question you should be asking yourself isn't, who wins the cage match. The question is, where does the boundary of my specific workflow actually sit?
Okay, let's unpack this. Because if they are stacked layers, we really need to know where one layer ends and the next one begins.
Right.
Let's draw the physical line between what happens inside the store's ecosystem versus what happens out in the wild.
That is honestly the most financially important line you can draw as an operator. I mean, think about it. Why would you pay a monthly subscription to some third-party company for work that never actually needs to leave your Shopify store's database?
Oh, I like that. So, okay, think of Shopify Flow as your house's built-in smart home system.
That's a great way to put it.
Like, it's already in the walls. It just comes with the house. The other tools we're talking about today, Zapier, Make, n8n, those are basically the specialized courier services you hire when a physical package actually needs to leave your property.
Right.
You wouldn't, hire a guy in a delivery truck just to carry a Post-it note from your kitchen to your living room.
You'd be bankrupt in a week. And that analogy holds up perfectly when you actually look at the economics of it.
How so?
Well, Flow is a free first-party app. It sits right there on the Basic, Grow, Advanced, and Plus plans. And because it lives inside the house, it is built to handle internal housekeeping instantly.
Like what kind of housekeeping?
We are talking about, say, tagging repeat buyers the exact second they pass a lifetime spend threshold.
Right.
Or instantly holding a high-risk order for manual review before a fulfillment app accidentally ships it out.
Oh, wow. So it just stops it right there.
Exactly. It happens natively, right on the order vent itself.
The source also points out this feature that I honestly didn't realize was so rare. It's the scheduled time trigger.
Yes. The time trigger is huge.
Because Flow isn't just passively waiting for a customer to buy something, right? It actually has its own internal clock.
And that clock is incredibly powerful. It can be set to fire as frequently as every 10 minutes.
Every 10 minutes.
Yeah. So, you could build a workflow to automatically run a sweep of your entire catalog, find any seasonal products that have completely sold out, and just unpublish them.
So your store doesn't look like a cluttered mess.
Right, exactly. It just hums along in the background. And here is the really crucial detail for your wallet. There is no published run limit on Flow.
Wait.
They do not meter you on how many times that internal workflow fires.
I need to pause you right there because I know how SaaS companies operate. Nothing is truly unlimited. Are you seriously saying I could run a workflow 1 million times a day and Shopify just eats the server cost?
Well, okay, no, not exactly. You aren't metered on the raw number of runs, but you are constrained by your plan's API limits.
Okay, there's the catch. What does that mean?
Think of the API limit not as like a toll booth charging you per car. Think of it as the number of lanes on your highway.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, so if you are on the standard plan bucket, your limit is 100 points per second. If you're on plus, you get 1,000. It is essentially a ceiling on how much data can flow through the pipes at the exact same millisecond.
So if I'm running, say, a massive Black Friday flash sale.
Exactly. During that rush, your flow automations are competing for those highway lanes right alongside your inventory apps and your shipping apps.
Okay, got it.
But as long as you aren't creating a traffic jam, Shopify honestly doesn't care how many workflows you have turned on.
Okay, I am officially confused then. If Flow is basically free, it's already installed in the walls, and it handles all this internal heavy lifting without charging me a per task fee, why on earth am I looking at outside tools at all?
It's a fair question.
Right, because it feels like you're telling me I have a private jet sitting in the hangar, but I still need to go out and buy a bus pass. Like, why is external automation a multi-billion-dollar industry if Flow is so good?
Because the private jet isn't allowed to leave the airspace.
Oh.
Yeah. Flow has two massive, very intentionally designed gates that stop you dead in your tracks the second you try to leave their ecosystem.
Let's talk about those gates.
So the first gate is highly technical. It's about how Flow talks to the outside world. If you want to push your customer data to an external warehouse system or maybe a custom analytics dashboard, you have to use a specific action called send HTTP request.
Okay, makes sense.
But here is the massive catch. Shopify completely blocks that single action on their basic plan.
You are kidding. So if you are on the $39 basic plan, the doors are just locked from the outside.
Bolted shut. To unlock that one specific action, you have to upgrade your entire Shopify store to the Grow plan, or Advanced, or Plus.
That is wild. Let's do the actual math on that. Basic is $39 a month, right?
Right.
And Grow is, what, $105 a month?
Yeah, 105.
So if you are a small merchant, upgrading your entire store just to let your own data out the front door that's essentially a $66 a month automation tax.
That is wildly expensive toll booth for a small business.
Okay, so that's the first one. What is the second gate?
Communication. Flow cannot email your customers natively.
Wait, really?
Seriously.
Mm-hmm.
It has this action node called Send Internal Email. But if you read the developer documentation, it explicitly states that it's only to be used for alerting your own staff.
Okay, but what if you just plug a customer email in there anyway?
If you try to use it to send a customized welcome email or like a shipping update to a buyer, Flow just refuses to do it.
Okay, if we connect this to the bigger picture, this is where a massive naming collision in the industry completely derails merchants.
Oh, the Klaviyo confusion.
Yes, because I hear founders talk about building email flows all the time, right? So naturally, they assume Shopify Flow does this.
It is a terrible coincidence of branding, honestly. When e-commerce operators talk about flows, I'd say 90% of the time they were actually talking about Klaviyo.
Right, the email marketing platform.
Exactly. Klaviyo calls its automated marketing sequences flows. But a Klaviyo flow has absolutely zero to do with Shopify Flow.
Totally different thing.
It is a completely different piece of software doing a fundamentally different job. If you want to email your customers based on behavior, you don't need a data automation layer. You need a marketing layer.
Okay, so let's say a merchant has hit one of those gates, right? Like they need to push a really complex fulfillment file to a third-party logistics portal, and Flow just can't handle it. Now you have to step outside the house and go shop for one of those courier services.
Yes, exactly. Now you're in the wider market.
So you look at Zapier, you look at Make, you look at n8n, and this is where the source material warns about the big pricing trap.
The trap is so easy to fall for.
Because if I just glance at their pricing pages, I don't even really need to think about it. Zapier's professional tier is $49 a month. Make starts at $12 a month. 12 is less than 49. Make wins. End of discussion, right?
And that surface-level assumption right there is exactly how monthly tech budgets just hemorrhage cash.
Because they're hiding something.
Because looking at the dollar amount without actually understanding what they are counting is the trap.
It's like comparing a price per liter at a Canadian gas station with a price per gallon at an American one, and declaring the liter station cheaper just because the physical number on the sign is lower.
Exactly.
You completely haven't done the math on the volume.
Precisely. These platforms are billing you in completely different units of measurement. We have to break down what a billable unit actually means for each of these three companies, because Frankly, it dictates your entire architectural strategy.
Okay, break it down for us. Let's start with Zapier.
Zapier bills by the task.
Uh-huh.
A task is defined as one single action step that successfully completes.
So just the action.
Right. The triggers that start the workflow, the filters checking if an order even matches your criteria, even the polling where Zapier asks Shopify, hey, any new orders?
Mm-hmm.
All of that is free.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, you only pay a unit when a tangible action is executed.
All right, so if Zapier bills by the action, I am assuming Make does something similar to hit that super attractive $12 price point.
You would think so, but no. Make bills by the operation. An operation is one module run.
Sounds similar enough.
But here is the critical budget-breaking difference. Make charges you for looking.
For looking.
Yes. Every single time their trigger module checks your Shopify store to see if there is a new order, that costs you an operation.
Wait, really?
Even if it's 2 in the morning, your store is completely dead and absolutely no data is found, you pay for the privilege of them asking.
That is incredibly sneaky. I can see how that adds up fast. And what about n8n?
Well, n8n ignores both of those models completely. They bill by the execution. An execution is one entire workflow run from start to finish.
So it doesn't matter how long the workflow is?
Nope. Regardless of how many individual action steps or filters or nodes are packed inside that workflow. Whether your process takes 2 steps or 25 steps to finish, it costs exactly 1 execution.
Here's where it gets really interesting, because abstract rules are kind of hard to visualize.
Yeah, let's put numbers to it.
Let's run a highly specific real-world scenario from the source material through all 3 of these billing models so you can actually hear the financial impact.
I love this example.
Right. Okay, imagine you sell limited drop sneakers. You have a workflow that fires 1,000 times a month, but you have a filter in place that throws away 40% of those runs because they are international orders, and you just don't automate those.
Got it. So out of the 1,000 initial triggers, only 600 runs actually survive the filter to do real work.
Exactly. Those surviving 600 domestic runs then move on to execute 3 specific action steps each. Let's say logging to a Google Sheet, pinging Slack, and updating a CRM.
Okay, 3 actions.
And crucially, you have the tool set up to poll Shopify for new sneaker orders every 15 minutes. Over a standard 30-day month, polling every 15 minutes equals 2,880 checks.
All right, let's run the Zapier math first. Remember, Zapier doesn't charge for the 2,800 checks.
Right, polling is free.
And it doesn't charge for the filter tossing out the international orders. It only charges for the final actions.
Okay, do the math.
So 600 surviving runs multiplied by 3 action steps equals 1,800 tasks. That lands you very neatly on their $49 a month annual plan.
Okay, so 1,800 billable units for Zapier. Now let's run the exact same sneaker drop through Make.
Make charges for everything. First, you pay for those 2,880 empty trigger checks.
Even the empty ones?
Yep. Then you add the 1,800 action module runs. That equals 4,680 operations.
Wow. I mean, that is more than double the unit count of Zapier for the exact same amount of business value.
It's a huge difference in units.
But wait, I'm looking at Make's pricing. 4,600 operations still fits under their 10,000 unit allowance for the $12 plan. So even though they totally double charge the units, the raw dollar amount is still technically cheaper.
It is for this specific shape, yes. But here is the lesson the source really wants merchants to internalize. Make's $12 price tag is not a scalable quote.
It's a trap.
It is just the lowest position on a sliding scale that intentionally hides its upper tier prices until you actually hit them. And conversely, Zapier heavily penalizes you for having too many steps. If you take that 3-step sneakers app and decide, hey, let's add 3 more actions to it, your unit count literally doubles overnight, even if your actual sales volume never increases.
It's a structural penalty.
Exactly.
And an idiom.
Simplest of all, 1,000 workflow triggers total equals 1,000 executions. The internal steps don't matter. The empty polling checks don't matter. It fits perfectly on their $20 a month starter plan.
This is wild. It absolutely proves that you have to write down the shape of your workflow before you ever pull out your credit card.
You have to do the math.
But wait, we just established all that math based on checking Shopify every 15 minutes, right? In the real world, especially during a hype sneaker drop, 15 minutes is an eternity. Like, customers expect instant confirmation. Warehouses need that data immediately. What happens to the math when we move from the cost of volume to the cost of speed?
Oh, speed changes the math violently, depending on the architecture you choose.
My first thought is, why even poll every 15 minutes at all? Like, why not just have Shopify instantly push a notification the absolute second an order drops?
You mean using a webhook?
Right. It's the difference between a kid in the backseat constantly asking, are we there yet? Are we there yet? That is polling, right?
Yes.
Versus a GPS that just sits silently and then announces, you have arrived. That is a webhook. Why doesn't everyone just use webhooks?
Well, webhooks are the GPS, and they're instantaneous. But the source pulls a massive caveat straight out of Shopify's own developer documentation. Shopify explicitly warns developers that webhooks are inherently unreliable.
Wait,
They are not guaranteed to arrive.
Shopify just openly admits their system drops data. Why?
Because webhooks rely on a fire-and-forget mechanism. Think of a webhook, like a delivery driver who just refuses to wait for a signature.
Okay.
When an order happens, Shopify sprints up to your receiving server's porch, throws the data at the door, yells, "New order," and just sprints away.
Oh my God.
If your server was busy processing a different order for even a fraction of a second, or your automation tool had a brief hiccup, the door was locked, the package just bounces off, Shopify does not care, and they do not try again. The data is just gone.
That is absolutely terrifying if you're moving real money or updating critical stock levels.
Exactly. Which is why best practice dictates that you can never rely purely on webhooks for mission-critical stuff.
So what do you do?
You absolutely must build a second, slower workflow. A nightly sweep that deliberately rereads all of yesterday's orders just to catch the inevitable data that the webhooks silently missed during peak traffic.
And let me guess, that nightly sweep workflow, running through hundreds of orders just to double-check the work, eats up a massive amount of billable units.
You bet it does. You are essentially paying twice. You pay to build the instant webhook, and then you pay again for the safety net to check its work.
Okay, so what if a merchant decides that webhooks are just too fragile? Or maybe they're integrating with an older inventory system that doesn't even support them?
That happens a lot.
What if you are stuck with the kid in the backseat asking, are we there yet? What if 15 minutes is too slow for your fulfillment team, and you decide to slide that polling frequency down to check every 5 minutes?
Okay, let's go right back to the math of our sneaker drop.
Mhm.
If you poll every 5 minutes instead of 15, the number of empty checks jumps from 2,880 a month to 8,640 checks a month.
That is a huge jump. How does that spike affect the monthly bill?
Well, on Zapier and n8n, it doesn't change a single cent.
Really?
Yeah, your bill is exactly the same because they do not charge you for empty polling checks. You can ask, "Are we there yet?" as much as you want.
But on Make,
But on Make, every single one of those extra checks is a billable operation. Your total operations skyrocketed over 10,400. Just by changing a little drop-down menu from 15 to 5, you instantly blew straight past Make's $12 tier limit. What's fascinating here is that speed is a hidden paid upgrade on exactly one of these platforms. Make essentially turns a merchant's impatience into a direct recurring revenue stream for themselves.
it is brilliant business for them, honestly, but an absolute budget killer for a merchant who just nudged a slider without understanding the underlying unit economics.
Exactly.
Okay, so hearing all of this, these crazy billing mechanisms, the Shopify gates, the speed taxes, I guarantee there's a listener out there with some technical chops who's thinking, I'm going to bypass this sauce nonsense entirely.
The self-hosting route.
Right. Because the source explicitly mentions that n8n is available to download on GitHub. If I know my way around a server, isn't self-hosting n8n the ultimate cheat code? Like free software, unlimited executions?
It is a very tempting thought process for engineers, for sure. But the source does a great job of bringing us back to reality and totally busting that myth.
Busted how?
Well, first of all, technically speaking, n8n is not open source in the traditional sense. It operates under a fair code license.
What is the practical difference for a business?
So the license legally allows you to use the code internally for your own business for free. But you cannot white label their software, and you cannot package it and sell it as a service to your own clients.
Got it.
But honestly, more importantly for the merchant, the word free only applies to the software license itself. It absolutely does not apply to reality.
Right, because code has to live somewhere. Like, you can't run an enterprise automation layer off your laptop in the living room.
Exactly. You have to pay for the hosting environment. The n8n documentation actually recommends spinning up something called a Hetzner CPX11 instance for standard usage levels.
Okay, and what is that?
Now, for anyone who isn't a cloud architect, a Hetzner CPX11 isn't some magical box you just plug in. It is an unmanaged, raw Linux, virtual, private server.
Meaning you are staring at a black screen with a blinking cursor.
Precisely. You need to know command line. You need to know how to maintain Docker containers.
Sounds intense.
It is. And interestingly, n8n won't publish the price of that Hetzner server directly in their own docs in a way the source could easily scrape. That hard infrastructure cost and the technical configuration is entirely on you to figure out.
Plus the time it takes to maintain it.
Exactly. And then, yeah, you have to pay for the ongoing hours of upkeep, the security patches, the database backups, the uptime monitoring.
And this brings up what the source brilliantly calls the 2 a.m. question.
It's the ultimate reality check for anyone wanting to self-host.
Because who gets the phone call when an automation silently stops working at 2 in the morning during your biggest Black Friday sale of the year?
Someone is getting woken up.
Right. Because if you are paying for Zapier or Make and their infrastructure goes down, that is their CEO's problem. Their engineers are the ones scrambling to fix it while you sleep. But if you self-host n8n on a Hetzner server, that is your lead developer's 2 a.m. panic attack.
Spot on.
You aren't getting unlimited executions for free. You are simply paying for them in operational risk and human capital.
You hit the nail on the head. You are basically trading a highly predictable SaaS subscription fee for highly unpredictable labor costs and downtime risk.
Which is terrifying.
It really is. And there is one final crucial detail the source checked across all three of these platforms: Zapier, Make, and n8n.
What's that?
None of them, not a single one, provides a documented migration path to move your work to a competitor.
Meaning what? Like you can't just hit an export button on your Zapier workflow and import it over to Make if you get mad at Zapier's pricing.
Nope, not at all. They all structure and save their data in completely proprietary formats. Leaving one of these platforms doesn't mean moving your automations. It means initiating a total ground-up rebuild.
You are locked in.
Completely locked in. The true cost of leaving Make for Zapier is the cost of paying a developer to forensically examine what the old workflow did, translate all the logic, and literally build it from scratch in a new paradigm.
Wow. So what does this all mean? We have covered a massive amount of architectural ground today. For you listening, here is your practical action plan. Do not ever buy an automation layer based on the pricing page sticker price.
Never.
It's a total illusion. You need to map and sort your work before you ever start shopping.
Yes. Step one is isolation. Identify absolutely everything that happens entirely inside Shopify's walls. Tagging customers, holding risky orders, triggering inventory alerts. Keep all of that internal logic on Shopify Flow.
Why pay extra? Right.
Exactly. It is free, it leverages your existing API limits, and it handles the basics flawlessly without incurring outside SaaS taxes.
Okay, step 2. For the critical data that absolutely must leave the store, to hit your warehouse, your accounting software, your CRM, write down the physical shape of your workflow.
This is so important.
Like, how much volume do you actually have? How many distinct action steps are in the process? Are you pushing data out with fragile webhooks, or do you have an older system that forces you to rely on polling?
And once you understand the physical shape of your data flow, you match it to the billing unit.
Right.
If you have low volume but massive, complex 20-step workflows, Zapier will punish you financially. If you require aggressive, high-frequency polling every 2 minutes, Make will quietly drain your budget.
But n8n.
If you have massive volume but very simple steps, n8n starts looking incredibly attractive. Pick the layer whose specific unit size is kindest to your unique mathematical shape. This raises an important question, though. As we look to the next 12 months, how does artificial intelligence change this calculus for merchants?
Oh, AI changes everything, but maybe not in the way people think. It actually makes understanding this underlying math infinitely more critical.
How so?
Because we are entering an era where AI agents can just generate these complex workflows for us in seconds. You just type into a prompt, build me an automation that updates my inventory and emails my supplier, and the AI builds it instantly. But here is the massive danger. The AI doesn't care about your billing units.
This doesn't care at all.
But the AI doesn't know your budget constraints.
Exactly. If an AI writes a messy, bloated, 15-step Zapier workflow to accomplish a task that a human could have consolidated into 3 steps, Zapier is going to happily charge you for all 15 steps.
Oh,
Or if an AI defaults to setting up a 1-minute polling check on our Make, simply because it assumes faster is always better.
Which we know is a trap.
Right. It could literally exhaust your monthly sauce budget in a matter of days.
Mm.
The faster AI helps us build infrastructure, the easier it becomes to rapidly create invisible costs.
It is the ultimate double-edged sword. If you are blindly trusting an AI to optimize your technical build without understanding how the host platform actually makes its money, you might just be optimizing your way into a massive surprise subscription bill.
It's a scary thought.
It really is. The smart home might be free, but if you let a robot blindly hire your couriers, you're gonna go broke paying for the delivery. Thank you for joining us on this deep dive. Take a hard, honest look at your tech stack today, trace the units you're actually paying for, and start taking control of the math. We'll see you next time.